This is your host, Rambunctious.
And your co-host, Tayamu Denku. Pick apart the passion. Pick apart the passion. Pick the passion. Pick the passion. Pick apart the passion.
Welcome to Pick Apart the Passion podcast. Tonight we have a legend of all legends when it comes to music, when it comes to the cannabis industry, when it comes to comedy. He's covered all spectrums in a way that, I mean, this is one of the biggest episodes we've ever had, and appreciate your time. Today we have Tommy Chong. How you doing, sir? Mr. Chong, how you doing?
I'm doing good. My dog is starting to bark at a stupid squirrel. The squirrel tortures my dog.
Okay,
but
yeah,
I mean, I try to keep him from barking in the middle of a podcast. So
that's cool.
I'll have to scream at him once in a while.
Yeah, no
but
worries.
I'm doing great, man.
Yeah. We're pet friendly on Pick Apart the Passion podcast. It's cool.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, no, I'm having the lockdown of my life.
Yeah. Are you prospering during the pandemic lockdown?
More than I could imagine.
Yeah. I felt the same way, man.
I'll tell you where I'm at now, man. Cheech and I quit the road. We said no more.
Yeah.
We're just gonna sit home and rake it in, you know.
So what have you been creating? I mean, I know you create bongs and you're working on the $1 million bong. I know we know that.
Yeah. I'm well, it's being worked on.
Right.
I'm hooked up with all the greatest artists in the world, actually.
Yeah.
Glass blowers. No, I'm doing great. I'm easing in, not easing, but kind of stumbling into the art world, you know.
Okay.
Well,
how are you stumbling? You've been in it a lot for years.
I'm talking about mentally.
Okay.
You know, because I can do a lot of things, but I'm not really good at any one of them. You know, and so art.
I don't know about that, but okay.
Art is something that is totally personal, to the point. Yeah, you remember when you're a kid or something, you had to draw something, and it wasn't as good as the real good artist, and so you felt kind of like maybe I'm not going to show it. I'm just not going to show it, and that's the mindset that I had, still have, but yeah, I'm because the art world, man, that is the world to be in, because little things can be worth millions of dollars. Yeah, because it's the only one of a kind. You know.
Well, I've heard you say before. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I've heard you say before that you think art is going to be the thing that saves the world.
Yeah.
You had said it on Rogan. And I had to take another podcast, but that, to me, that was one of the most profound statements I ever heard. And you said because the people that built the pyramids employed people and inspired people. Talk about that a little more. Like I want to get into that a little bit. And there's other questions I have off of that too. That's an amazing statement. You know?
Okay, look at it this way. Now, in the world we live in now, we pay money to go to a room where we lift heavy things, and we do strenuous things with our bodies, but we pay people money so we can do that in comfort, in a nice, clean environment and everything else. Back in those days, the Egyptians, and by the way, I was just watching King Tut. Man, he only made it to what 28 years old, or if that.
Like that, right.
They were all young.
Yeah, 30 was a long life, right?
Yeah, they were all babies, and so you can see that energy they had. That's why we got pyramids built, because the only thing rich people care about when they get really wealthy is art. Sculptures, art, something that they can look at and stare at and feel good about, because art gives off vibrations.
Yes, sir.
And the better the art, the better the vibration. and to the point where people will spend millions and millions of dollars just so they can have a taste of that vibration.
Is that part of your inspiration for doing the NFT with the bong, with the $1 million bong?
Yeah, I guess. The $1 million bong idea, is an old one. I had it back when we had a bong company.
No shit.
Yeah.
How old is that then? That's pretty innovative.
That goes back to the 90s, like 99, 98, 99, around there. And because when we had the bong company, I'm always creating and thinking, and I thought, wow. Well, two things. I thought, we should have a real cheap bong that anybody could buy.
Yeah, accessible, right?
But my son, he argued he would not let me make a cheap plastic bong.
No, it's almost blasphemous, right?
Yeah, that's what it was with him. He's such an artist. See, I'm the businessman.
Right.
He's the artist. And the artist, no, man, you're not going to put that crap in my studio.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the bong, man, it was art from the get-go. You know how we got it? How we got in the bong business? I was on the road by myself for a bit, learning how to do stand-up. But I got lonely.
You already knew how to do it. Give yourself.
No. It's a whole different thing.
When is this? What year is this then?
This was 93. I started 92. 92. It was the New Year's of 92. I saw Dennis Miller at a comedy club in Vancouver.
Wow,
and it was the first comedy club I'd been in for years. But he was in, I was in Vancouver, Dennis Miller showing. So I went down there and I checked out his show, and his show was okay. But what I loved about was that rapport between him and the audience. It was such a beautiful rapport. And so then I said, well, I got to do this. And so I went on open mic night, open mic nights like everybody else, And the first night, the next day, I went on stage the day after Rodney King got his ass whipped.
Oh shit!
By the cops. I went on the next day, and my bit really was about how mothers are so proud to see their sons on TV. Doesn't matter what they've done, but like the mother of a cop going, "Did you see my boy? He was the one."
Boy.
And
talk about the political activism in that joke too, though. That's a genius.
Right off the bat. And so, I'm doing this at this little comedy club on Ventura Boulevard in Encino, in a shopping center that Cheech and I used to own. It was weird. I'm in this little club, and I'm up there doing my Rodney King joke, and then a guy yells from the audience, "Hey, where's Cheech?" and that was it.
What'd you say? Did you say back to that?
Nothing. No. What do you say? Where's Cheech? And I was looking at him. Of course, where's Cheech?
Yeah, right.
You got Chong up there doing something.
Right.
But anyway, I Then I did the open mic night at all the clubs in town.
Yeah.
I did it one more time. I tell the truth. I did an open mic night at the Laugh Factory. Okay. And Jamie, I knew Jamie. I used to go to all the clubs just as Tommy Chong, Cheech and Chong, and I'd just hang out and check out the acts, see if I can get some good material from somebody,
right.
And sure enough, no, it's my turn. I'm going to do open mic night. So I went down to the Laugh Factory. I did my 5 minutes. I know where I can get off stage, and Sam Kennison comes busting in the club. No, Sam, you remember Sam Kinison?
Oh, of course, yeah. I was young, but I remember him being huge. Him and Dice Slayer at the same time.
Yeah, Sam was barred from the Laugh Factory because he was so gross. Yeah. But I was there, and Sam walks in. I said, Sam, and he was a mutual love affair there. Hey man, I heard you, John. Hey. And so I said to Sam, "You gonna do some time here at Jamie's?" And Sam said, "For you, I'll do some time." And he gets on stage, and he literally empties the club because they're getting up and running out because they went to that club because to get away from Sam, So,
wow.
But he did a set, and then we all went upstairs and got high with Jamie. Sam was just a bully. He just took over, told Jamie, let's go up to the office and smoke some dope. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And then I hired a manager. Because I started right away. Started getting offers, and so Paul Reiser, also a friend of mine, he referred me to Arthur. Forget his last name, but Arthur was Paul's manager and still is, I guess, to this day. And so he was going to manage me. So I'm thinking, okay, this is the way I want to do things. I don't want to headline because I'm not ready. I just want to do 5-10 minutes. And then bring out the other act, and I got the yeahs from everybody. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And so the first gig I get to, and then Arthur told me the other thing. The first gig I did, I wore a sports jacket, and then the second gig I was going to come down. I never got on. Well, no, I got on, but Sam came. But anyway, Arthur looked at me with the sports jacket, and he goes, "Okay, first thing, got to go back to the old blue jean shirt,
You take off the jacket.
yeah, lose the jacket. And so my first gig, man, I'm supposed to do 15 minutes. They got me headlining.
So what's that, 30?
It's in the newspapers. It's front
shit.
page. It was now appearing Tommy Chong.
And you're like, I got 15 minutes. What do you?
Dude, listen, it was the funniest thing. They put on all the comics in front of me. I went out and did I stretched it into 10 minutes. I had 5 minutes. I stretched it into 10.
Okay.
And now I got another show to do. And so what they did, because I exited the stage in about 5-7 minutes, they put all the other comics on that were on before. They put them back on to fill up my spot. and for the second show, I'm in the broom closet trying to write a show.
Wow.
I'm sitting there trying to write, and boy, necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
And so I ended up with about 25 minutes. I fired my manager right away.
Rightfully so, right? He's got to go.
I don't need, he never did anything that I asked. And of course he could, because you don't tell a comedy club, you got a name, bringing in people, making money,
Yeah.
So that was my entrance into the comedy world. But we're talking about Shelby. And so what happened? I got so lonely out there, and helpless, because when you're alone, man, promoters, you're at their mercy. They say, "Hey, listen, I'll pick you up at whatever," and then after the gig, we got a great party, I mean, you're stuck with them.
Yeah, we're both music guys, so we kind of understand that. And you're a music guy too. I wanted to get into that. You were signed to Motown at one point. That's one thing I learned today that tripped me out. We're music guys. We both rap and I sing, and we both do a lot of that. And man. So what's it like? What's the difference for you, comedy as opposed to music in terms of creating it?
Music and comedy, there's so much alike. The same rules apply. First of all,
I'm an aspiring comedian. I'm also an aspiring comedian, so I want to say that too. So that's another reason I'm asking. I'm sorry.
I know what you're saying. Of course, every singer could be a comedian. Every musician could be a comedian. I mean, because see, when you're dealing with music, you're dealing with truth right from the get-go. It's called being in tune.
Yes,
So you got to be in tune to be a musician. And then you have to know timing if you're a musician, and you got to be ready for the unexpected and the expected. And then there's only when I started playing music, I started when I was 8 years old. I could play the guitar a little bit, and so the fiddle player across the field needed a guitar player because his guitar player left town, got a job or something, and so I ended up playing guitar. And so the fiddle player, he taught me two things. Give them what the people, play what the people want here, and keep it simple. That was the two things that I was taught. and it stayed with me forever. And so when I started, I got introduced to the blues real early. I was about 15, 16. About 16 years old. Before that, I was playing country a little bit. I was always a backup guitar player. I was never a lead. I was never a vocalist. Just a back, guys say, hey, we got a gig. Oh, okay. And then usually I had to borrow their guitar because I never even owned a guitar, And then, hey, this is back when the electric guitar was introduced into the world. Wow. It was 1957, 56, 57. And Les Paul had just invented the Les Paul Gibson guitar, and Fender had that little amp, and so that was my first electric instrument. And so I ended up, I got into the blues thanks to a football player named Tommy Chong, he was a football player, a running back, incredibly talented, Canadian, descendants from slaves from Oklahoma. We found out, we did a check, but he was this amazing running back, and charisma up the yin yang, a smile that just brightened the room, and danced his ass off. And so then when he found out I played guitar, he said, "Wow, let's get together. I'm a singer." He sings, And so he introduced me to all the rhythm and blues. So I got into the blues right off the bat, and there was no record stores then. They weren't selling records in a store.
So
you had to order. No, you had to order the record from the guitar shop, from the instrument store.
Wow.
And they would do a special order. But we had a great pipeline, because the black porters that worked on the train would go into the States. They would pick up the latest record, bring it back, and then give it to us, that were dying for it. And so we were playing Bo Diddley and Chuck Berry right from out of the gate,
Wow.
And we got so good, we started a teen club, and we were packing them in so much. But the trouble is that, rock and roll attracts all kinds of, very rough people, sort of speak. The gangs and shit. And so after the dance, there'd be a little mini riot every time we'd play. And so the mayor and the chief of police of Calgary asked us to leave town. They told us to get, back and get you out of here. We thought we were going to get an award because we had our own teen club. We were legitimate. But anyway, that started me on the road, and then I, we'd go down to California and try to get a gig. Nothing happened. We come back, and then we did our own, we'd book our own tours. And we ended up with our own nightclub, and then we ended up meeting Bobby Taylor in San Francisco, and then we called Bobby one time because we needed a drummer. And Bobby said, "I can play drums, motherfucker." Shit. Just buy me some drums. Yeah, shit, I'll be up there. I'll play drums. And so Bobby come in, and Bobby was one that got me singing, because before I met Bobby, I'd sing a little bit background with Tommy, but Tommy wasn't really a singer. He was a football player that could dance and sing a little bit. but Bobby was a singer. Bobby was one of the legends. He's a legend of Motown. He's a legend of Motown. And when we, anyway, the long story short, we hooked up. Bobby took over the singing chores, and next thing you know, we got discovered by Diana Ross and the Supremes. And so she told Barry, and Barry flew down to Vancouver.
Did you have any, excuse me, did you have any comedy aspirations at that time, or was music your thing? Was that your passion at the time?
When you're in a black band, you have comedic aspirations.
Yeah. Because, I was gonna say the roasting backstage before and after shows had to be fun, right?
You know, until I started doing comedy, nobody at Motown they knew I could sing a little bit, but they never knew I could talk.
Yeah, right.
Because with the band, I never had a chance. You know, I got so used to not saying anything because with the bass player, the drummer, you know, Mel Brown, and Bobby was a comedian, and Leroy, our the first piano player we had, he was from Gary, Indiana, and he was phenomenal. Well, all the jazz guys, and especially jazz musicians, man, they got the best jokes ever. Yeah. And then you know, we had a club, after hours club in Vancouver, and Red Fox would be down there almost every night when he was in town. You know, it was the club to be in, man. Yeah. One time we were playing. James Brown's in town, so the whole James Brown band's on stage playing away, and then I look at. There's a little commotion at the door, and I look up from the stage, and there's the Rolling Stones trying to get into the club.
Did they get
in? They got stopped at the door, you know.
Oh, wow.
You know, the long-haired dudes. And my brother looked at me. Now I knew who they were. Ron Woods, and I think it was the drummer. And they're Charlie, and they're waving. And like, hey, we're the Stones. And I'm on stage. I kind of looked away. It was a sign that my brother said, no, you don't get in. Yeah. It was too packed. I mean, it was too full, man. And yeah, so Bobby Taylor, man, when you get a good singer anywhere, you know, well, he was the gangster singer. Okay. Every group, you know, growing up, there's one vocation they got. Well, first of all, if they're got sex appeal, they got women. Right. And if they come up to Canada, they got white women. And if they hang out in Canada, they all got working white women. And so there's a lot of money and shit going on, you know. So Bobby got caught up in it. And one day we get a call, Bobby's leaving and he's trying to take the drums. And so my brother, who was the heavy, went down and convinced Bobby that he better not take anything or he'll be playing or singing with a broken wrist, you know. So Bobby left. He left, man. And now we had to hire another singer. You know, it wasn't that great. And this is my wife. She was my girlfriend. She was just a friend, Shelby. She's with me, and I'm telling her that, well, then Bobby called. He wants to come back. You know, he had his fling. He's ready to come back. Hey, man, come on, T. We got to get together, man. We can make it. We can make it, dude. You know, we got to work hard. And so I'm trying to think whether I should hire him back or not, you know. And Shelby, my now wife, girlfriend at the time, she goes, hire him back? Are you kidding? Yes, hire him back. You know, the singer you got sucks. You know, Bobby, man, yes, hire him back. And so we hired him back. And I think it was the next week, we got discovered by Motown. And next thing you know, we're in Motown with a hit record.
Wow, that's crazy,
man. Real crazy.
So, which one feels better? Because you've charted on Billboard, almost at the same position with comedy, with the first one with you and Cheech, and then also with music. So, which one felt more like accomplishment? You know what I mean, like an accomplishment. Please.
Oh, comedy by far. Yeah. You know, I wasn't even. I wrote the song. Does Your Mama Know About Me?
Yeah,
I wrote
yeah.
the song, but I wasn't allowed to play on the tracks that weren't that great anyway. No, because my guitar playing, it wasn't dazzling anybody.
Okay.
And I'm a lyricist more than
So you
anything.
got writing credit. Okay.
No, I own the song now. I got
okay.
I got the song from Motown. That's a great story. I'll have to tell you about it one day.
Oh, you can tell us right now. You can tell us right now. No problem. sir, no problem. As much time as you want.
I don't think I better, because it involves some very famous people and some information. It's information that if they knew, they could.
Okay.
They could be in a lot of shit.
We don't want this podcast to get you in trouble. We don't want this to be the one.
And we don't want to be canceled.
No, sir.
but you got to check this out. You got to check this with Bobby Taylor. Okay.
All right.
Now we're in Motown. We got a hit record. Diana Ross loves the tune. She records it. She sings it, and we changed Motown. We changed the style. They went from Didn't It Rain to Mama Papa's Got a Rolling Stone. You know what I mean? All of a sudden they got very, political.
Yeah.
And that was because of my song, Does Your Mama Know About Me?
Right.
Because the song was about, a mixed couple.
And dating.
Yeah. And oh man, I mean, it just changed Motown. But Bobby was one of the loose cannons. As good as he could sing, he's the guy that would leave town and try to steal the drums.
Yeah.
Just because he met some girl with some good stuff.
Yeah. Man,
oh man! One time I'm at the club outside in Vancouver. It's a summer day. It's beautiful. Everything's gorgeous. Late. The sun sets real late. 10 o'clock. Still light at 10 o'clock. And I'm outside and just enjoying everything. And the cab pulls up. And Bobby gets out. He's got a hatchet in his hand. He pays the cab. He comes in and he goes, "Fuck that bitch."
What was he gonna do with the hatchet? I don't understand.
And I said, "Oh God, I knew," because I knew, you've been going seeing Evelyn.
Okay.
And Evelyn, I don't know, they had some kind of falling out. Anyway, she kicked him out. And so Bobby took the hatchet and he nailed every door shut in the house with big nails.
Wow.
And then he got in the cab and came to the club. And I'm looking at Bobby with the hatchet. As well, okay. we better get playing. We better do the. Oh man, I mean, Bobby, he's one of those legends, man. We'd pull up in San Francisco. We went on a little tour. We've been down there. No. What happened after Motown signed us? They forgot about us.
Okay.
I think Barry just wanted to get some of the Diana Ross pussy. So he flew up. Yeah, sign him. Okay, you're signed. And then he forgot about us. And so we gigged our way all the way to Detroit. And so we had a gig in Seattle and one in LA and all the way until we made it to Detroit. But when we got to Detroit, man, I mean, we were the heroes. We opened at what was it? I forget the club, but anyway, and everybody in Motown, anybody, Marvin Gaye, the Temps, the Spinners, everybody, Smokey, they're all, Stevie, they're all in the audience, man. Waiting to hear this Bobby Taylor, the voice Bobby Taylor.
Wow.
And we had Mel Brown on the drums at the time. And Mel's this drumming legend from Portland. He's still there. He's one of these Philly Joe Jones students, Mm-hmm. And we had Mel on drums, Oh, we were oh man, we were just sounded so good,
Yeah,
we ate up Motown. But then Bobby became sort of like, you gotta have more than one hit. After that hit dies down, you better come back with another one or something like it, or you end up working in the warehouse at Motown. Carrying records around. Yeah.
So you say that, but then so your next hit is basically you and Cheech doing a super what they would call underground. I mean, album. I mean, y'all literally sat in the room recording it yourself. I mean, right? I mean,
I mean,
improv almost, you know.
It was total improv from the get-go.
Yeah.
I mean, just before, because I'm an old club owner, you know, Cheech and I came into some money. You know, we were so broke. We were doing open mic nights, and Cheech we were both, you know, living in Cheech's girlfriend's apartment. You know, and now I got a wife, a girlfriend with a baby. Actually, I got two families. I got a wife and two girls, and then a girlfriend with a baby, and a little bit of income coming in from the nightclubs. But
so your video is off right now. We can't see you.
Oh no, what happened?
Oh, there we go. Okay,
there you go. You're good.
You're good.
Okay, the engineer fell asleep, I guess.
You're good.
Am I boring you? I'm sorry.
No.
I tend to go on. I tend to go on because I'm a comedian, man.
I love it. Man.
We taught ourselves how to talk through everything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Or to no one. Or to no one.
You get heckled or whatever, man. You just know how to, you know, make your way through all those little barriers, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've been finding out. I get on these podcasts, man, and next thing you know, they say, "Well, we didn't expect to go 2 hours, Tom, but really appreciate it."
Hey, man, we do appreciate your time 100%. The thing is, we don't expect anything, but we've gone 3 before with people we've, you know, so.
Yeah, you get involved, you get going. Isn't that?
Start talking. I love it though. The conversation is a beautiful thing to me, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that's the beauty of where we're at now. You see, that's where people say, you know, I can't wait to go back to the old ways. Are you serious?
There is no old way.
Are you serious?
No such thing. Right?
But it's like saying, can't wait to go back to when we had landline telephones and you had you know.
Right.
We'll never go back there.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's done.
Yeah.
That's done. And as far as the way we're living now, man, I love it so much.
Yeah.
I had my fill of hotels and
isolation. You mean? Oh, you mean
airplanes?
It serves that part. You're saying?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I'm ready to kick back and just think of crazy things
and talk to people you don't know, but are cool like us. You know, stuff like that.
I know. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine? Imagine my life could be any better.
Well, I mean, look, man. You know, like you've been on my TV screen since I can remember. When I was little, there was somebody in my house, uncle, somebody was watching you, right? When I got older and I was 16 or so, and some older friends, 15 maybe, older friends were smoking, watching you. You were on my screen like my whole life. So I mean, I can imagine being on people's screen, talking to them now in conversation and talking about the different the dispensaries you're opening up and all this. I can imagine that's kind of, is that surreal for you a little bit? Like, is it kind of crazy a little bit for you?
Oh yeah. Can you imagine? Imagine what I'm going to do with a dispensaria?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm already got my idea for selling pizza. You know, healthy pizza. Mm-hmm. Having a stage, having the waiting area like a comedy club. You know, and
somewhere like San Fran or Richmond or somewhere around there.
Yeah, or maybe I might even design the old-fashioned 60s, 70s club. You know, where they used to have comedians and strippers and, you know, and that's going to be a dispensary, you know, and then I'm into art. So we're going to do a whole art thing with a $1 million bomb. And we're going to have art shows. And then I want to, as we start making money, I want to start creating schools. schools, music schools. Like right now, my son's up north. He got a degree in percussion at Boulder. I put a band together for a while. It was called Chong and the Family Stoned.
I love it.
And my one son, Paris, was on bass, and my Jobran, younger son, was on drums. And I was on guitar, and then my gorgeous wife was background singer and dancer. And we did a few gigs. It was fun, but it got my son hooked. See, he got a little taste of the stage.
You planted the seed. Yeah, you planted the seed.
He got hooked. Yep. And so when it was time to study something, well, he just wanted to stay music. And so he went to the University of Boulder, got a degree, a Bachelor's of Arts degree in percussion. And now he's on my payroll.
That's awesome.
Because I was joking, but I told him, in a way, he took me serious. I said, I'm rich enough that you could become a jazz musician. and
not make any money and be all right.
and he took me up on it. He took me up on it, and that kind of pissed off his mom and his brother because because he's being true to me. And when you're a musician,
he's being true to himself.
Yeah, but when you're a musician, you learn how to live off other people. Be it your parents, your wife, somebody, your brother. There's somebody that's paying the rent and keeping you on track. And that's just the way it goes. That's the life of a musician. And so when he became that, now he married really well. He married a woman. She's an engineer. She deals with solar power, with the windmills and that, and she's written a book, and she's a genius, And so they got married, and they got a son that's gorgeous, and he's, a surfer now. But anyway, that's so. Oh man, you can't believe how this shut down, and me having to smoke. See, I have to smoke all day. I have to get high all day because I'm doing cameos, and people always request it, And the only reason I didn't smoke was, you're traveling, or you're on just before you go on stage, or in your hotel, you got to keep your thoughts about you. But with this. Man, I can wake up I can wake and bake, and I do. I do sometimes, and so I think get filled with these great ideas. Like for instance, we got a house in Vancouver. We were trying to sell. It's on the water. It's gorgeous. And then my son said, what are we doing? What are we selling it for? What are we're going to get money, but so what? We got money. We don't have property. And so I thought, yeah, you're right. And so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to build a fucking state-of-the-art art studio.
There you go.
Just a beautiful piece of art. And
where's this at? Like what area?
This is in West Vancouver on the water.
Okay.
It's the Malibu of Vancouver. It's gorgeous, and we got a house that's not really on the beach, but it's the lawn in front is on the beach. Our house is right there, but and it's a phenomenal piece of property.
Awesome. That's awesome.
A stream running through, a big, huge old growth spruce in the yard. A place for a tree house. And it was like a summer home. So we'd go there and just do the summer thing. And I always look at the house and, one of these days I should do this or that. But now,
you get to do
check it out. We're going to build a state-of-the-art art studio. And guess what? We're going to do a video to pay for it.
Like, what do you mean, a video?
A video documentary of Chong building his dream house.
That is awesome.
Awesome. And all that entails. That means getting the architect and getting, because now it's a piece of art. You see
how
how
you design it yourself?
Well, with professional help.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
with professional help.
Yeah.
I mean, we have access to the world's greatest artist.
Yeah.
You believe that? I mean,
that's amazing.
In fact, I am friends with Frank Dury, the architect, and so I'm going to get Frank involved.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know him. I played hockey with him. We were both in an old Huff and Puff league, over 60, trying to play hockey.
You play hockey over 60?
Yeah, I did with Frank.
Holy shit.
And Frank, he's a Canadian too.
That's wild, man.
They used to call us the cones, those traffic cones.
Y'all are different kind of tough up there, man.
Oh yeah. Oh man, hockey. That's the Canadian outlet.
60 years old playing hockey.
I had to control.
I'm sorry, that's crazy to me. I mean,
I had to control my hockey personality because that's in Canada. That's what you develop. That's why there's no racism with hockey players.
So,
I mean, there is,
but you might fight. So you might fight somebody at 60. Is that what you're saying?
Well, if it came down to it, I know how to get the first shot in.
You got to do what you got to do, I guess.
Did that ever happen in the league? You got checked and then you pulled the finger off and was like,
okay.
No. Yeah,
for comedy's sake, if you had to do what you had to do.
I'll tell you, when you're that old, the first thing I learned, you save the warm up for the game because because sometimes you warm up and then you're done at that age.
Yeah.
No, I played until I was as long as I could, and then Frank, because he's so rich and connected, he started his own league basically, because he could do it, and we had a great. Anyway, I'm going to use Frank. I got access to the world's, and not only that, but because you're making a movie of this, now you got an art department. The art department comes in there. They're the best artists in the world. The movie people, the best. You can't get much better,
So you had said, I want to go back to because you keep mentioning art and how much it's influencing you and what you're doing and your ventures. One thing with art is you had said it'll change the world. When it comes to cannabis and marijuana and CBD and the things that are going on with that, obviously that has to be the craziest thing for you in the world to see with all the years and different trials and tribulations you had with it. For it to be legal and stuff, I mean, that has to be crazy for number one, of course. But that's going to. I'm sorry. I was just saying, how do you think it's going to change how society is, let's say, 30 to 50 years from now? My dad wanted me to ask you this question actually.
Okay. There's a thing. We got a thing called AI, artificial intelligence. That is what's going to chart that's what is charting our things. AI gave us the computers. AI gave us a cell phone. AI gave us the channels. AI allowed us to do what we're doing now without going through some company and all that crap. And so what's happening? And the same thing with cannabis, we have to go back to the old ways of growing and cultivating and dealing with it, right now, you have the chemicals to make a lot of the hash and the different byproducts of it, but they're old recipes because this is a plant that you don't have to do anything with it except love it, nurture it, water it.
Yeah, exactly. That's 100% true. Do you think business is tainting it then more so than helping it then, or do you think it's good? I think it's good, but.
No, but don't forget the people that run the business. They smoke up.
Right. Yeah,
they're not straight. It's not like you got. In fact, some people will make the transition from selling alcohol, say, and now they're into pot. It depends. Or someone, maybe from the tobacco industry, distribution, or some. Yeah, it's all. See, big business is just people that know how to run big business.
To market,
you know.
yeah. You can sell a Big Mac. If you can sell a Big
just
Mac, you
people.
can sell a Big Mac. You know?
Yeah, it's just people, and the whole thing. Don't forget, you always got to keep in mind that all drug laws are technically racist laws.
100%.
You know,
yeah.
they are racist laws. So we're dealing with a racist law. That's what I dealt with when I went to jail. It was a racist law, you know, and you can't get around it. You know, even changing the name was racist. You know, from cannabis to marijuana. You know, and so we have to get rid of all the different racist trappings that come with racism. You know, like you can have a little bit, okay, you're allowed in, okay, you can eat in the restaurant, but you can't live in, you know, those kind of laws. You know, we got to just erase them and then start again. And that's where, you know, old age and death comes in, you know, because the old ways are going to die. They're dying now. You know. That's why we'll never go back. You never go back. You know, it's just like telling the world, okay, stop. Okay, take it back. No, we just keep going forward. And it's our job. It's our job to keep up with what's going on. See, and if you don't keep up with what's going on, you fall down.
How do you see it going forward then, for yourself and
others? In the best of ways, man. I'm driving an electric car.
Yeah.
I haven't been to a gas station except to say hi to my old buddies.
That is
for years.
That is awesome. Yeah.
And it wasn't too long ago where I was trying to make an electric car. I had I still got it in the shop where we put batteries in it and had a guy run it. You know, we had it. It could go, you know, a couple of miles. But now I've got a Tesla.
What year did you start trying to make a Tesla?
A Tesla. It was before. It was around the 90s. It was in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Probably 98, 99, somewhere around there.
Were you Michael J. Fox inspired or?
No, there's an artist. His name is Gadget.
Okay.
And now Gadget had an electric sports car, and so then he was going to electrify I had a 48 Plymouth, you know, sort of like a lowrider, you know, kind of a lowrider car, and I was trying to make it electric. I still got it. It's still in the shop.
Wow.
But you know, that's where we're at now. You see, we're so far advanced, you know, all my teeth, all implants, all implants, man. And I was the first guy to get an implant when they very first come out, and it failed. And so the only place that I don't have an implant is where I had the first implant. Because when they took it out, it you know, not being put in right, it ate the bone. So, but
so
everything else,
everything
else I got in 2014, around there. 11, 12, around there, where I got all my teeth replaced.
So you're like, this technology thing is a miracle, is what you're saying.
I got lenses in both eyes that help me see. You know, if you had bad eyesight or cataracts, you know, now I can see without glasses. You know, I still need reading glasses, but look at me, and I'm 80. I'll be 83 in a couple of days.
Hey.
So
hey, you're Aries. Is that no? You're a
Taurus. No, Gemini.
Oh, okay.
May 24th.
Oh, okay. So a little while.
Yeah, there's two of us. Which one would you like to talk to?
Yeah. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. So one thing also I wanted to ask, so who is your favorite? I know you've probably smoked with a lot of celebrities, right? Obviously, you know, who's your favorite music person that you've hung out with, smoked with? Anybody in music or in hip hop, maybe, if you remember anybody in hip hop, I'm sure you know.
Yeah. I've hung with like Snoop Dogg a bit. Be Real with Cypress Hill and what's the guys that did How High? Redman
and Method Man,
yeah, Redman and Method Man. Hung with them.
People have compared you and them to Redman and Method Man. They compared you guys to the Cheech and Chong. You guys to them. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, I love it. I love being compared, man. I love it. I'm like Donald Trump. I like to see my name out there. I don't care what it's like.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is for. I just see Tommy Chong.
At least it's not. I mean, it's not grabbing the pussy or anything. It's good stuff usually.
Well, come on. That's a perk.
It's big difference.
I was on Larry King. Just before he died, and I said to Larry, "Man, how's the sex life?" And Larry goes, "Non-existent." he said, "But there's an upside." And I said, "Tell me, Larry, tell me." He said, "You don't get jealous."
I guess.
And it's true. It's true, man. Yeah. There is an upside, because half my life, or even more than half my life, man. My best friend ruled me. He told me where to go and when to go home.
Yeah.
It was my best friend, but now. Yeah, he's retired. He's retired. I'm retired, and
you guys still live close to each other?
Cheech? Yeah, we do. Yeah. Except when he lives in the mountains. I mean, in the desert. He's
one of those people that goes way out a lot and secludes himself, right?
Well, you can do that. You can say that, or he just follows where his old lady goes, where she wants to go.
Okay. I guess nothing wrong with that, I guess.
Just a minute, dear. I get your purse. Okay, I got it. Okay, where are we going?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cheech has been married 3 times, and every wife is really strong. His first wife is a sculptress, one of the best in the world. She's a metal sculptress and an artist and a horse lady. His second wife, Patty Hyde, is another fine oil painting artist. Oh, incredible. Yeah. And now he's with a pianist, a Russian lady, Natasha, and she is about to get her doctorate in classical music. And so Cheech, now he's with the Russian, and so she wanted to live.
Yeah, he said something like that on the Tyson podcast when you guys were on.
Yeah, she wanted to live in the desert, so he did what all us guys do. Okay, so we're living in the desert.
Did you know Mike Tyson before you just recently did his podcast?
No,
you had never met him.
No.
How was that? I mean, is he as intimidating presence as everybody says? I mean, like
not with Cheech and Chong.
Of course, not with you guys. No,
he loves. I had him laughing. Mike and I could do a comedy special, man. Yeah. I said, Mike said, "You haven't said anything about my studio. What do you think about my studio?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Hey, wow, this make a nice warehouse." Yeah. And he says, "It was a warehouse. It was a warehouse."
Yeah. He was a little defensive about his studio. Yeah.
I love Mike Tyson. I love him. And he said, "Now I know I'm with Cheech and Chong. Now I know I'm really big. I'm with Cheech and Chong." Taking a picture with us.
Yeah.
Oh God. And Cheech says, "Mike, why'd you get that tattoo on your face?"
On your face, yeah.
And Mike says, "Because I'm wild, man. I'm a wild man."
Yeah, it's wild.
And then Mike was doing his impersonation of jail. Oh, we love and she said, "What was it like in jail?" And Mike goes, "Well, at night you hear these
yeah. Yeah, that wasn't on the podcast. That must have been when they were filming or something.
I know, man. He is so funny. His sense of humor. Well, he's with comedians, man. When you get comedians together, man, they just, I mean,
he's naturally funny.
Yeah. Oh God, he's funny. And he met my son. My son was out in the green room when Mike come in. And Mike walked up to him and said, "Who are you?" With this intimidation, like, like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
And so my son told him, my dad, Chong, and okay, man. And then, so you give him a fist bump, and it was a hard fist bump. And my son, "Oh, I just met Mike Tyson."
That's awesome.
Oh, he is. I love Mike. I love him. And we're talking about weed. We're getting high, and it's one of those, where everybody gets high and no one speaks.
Yeah. You guys had a couple of those moments.
We had a lot of those moments.
You had a moment when you literally just said, "Hey, I'm fucked up. What straight is this? What is this?" I was like, "Oh, this is classic."
No, it was wow. It was a drug, because it never stopped. It never ended. It was like, because usually it's like, well, I guess we're time's up. You know what I mean? But that never came, and that was refreshing. That was very refreshing. Because that's what's happening with this lockdown. Because we're able to, play in the shallow end. We're not out there trying to hustle, and we're kind of laid back and just letting things happen
and creating. So maybe last question. It's almost an hour, but last question maybe. What do you think about in terms of what would you want the next generation of artists, comedians, whether it's comedians, whether it's people carrying on the cannabis industry, whether it's artists in terms of glass work or art, it's any art in any way, music, comedy. What would you want the next generation to know in terms of, hey, here's what you need to know to just keep carrying on, activism within your comedy, activism within your all the art you do, and you know what I mean, and you know what I'm saying, the message.
I get you. No, I tell everybody, live your life, go down those rabbit holes, make those mistakes, fuck up, I mean, the bigger fuck up, the more you have to come back with. That's what we do on as you get into comedy, you're not careful on stage. You walk out there. I remember Red Fox, man. He'd be having a conversation, talking away, and during the introduction, he's telling the story or something, and he finished the story and take his drink, and then there's Red Fox, and he walked out there, and he's in such control, because we own the moments, you see. And so what I tell everybody, man, and you don't get there by being careful and being perfect and being righteous. You get there by fucking up every way you can. Like just recently, my son, he just got married, and it got a little rough, because he's such a good-looking dude, He couldn't go anywhere without his wife being afraid that he's, playing around,
Yeah, it runs in the family, right? I mean,
Yeah. So he gained a lot of weight. He gained a lot of weight because normally he's trim and strong and had his fighting shape, but now, and instead of saying, oh, blah, blah, what happened to you? And it's like, go for it, do it. Go down that rabbit hole, get in there, Now you got something to, it's like doing an art piece, you slather that shit on there and then look back, and if it doesn't look good, then start taking it off, but do everything that your impulses tell you to do, especially when it says stop.
Right. Keep pushing.
But if you don't stop and you keep going, well, then it's like, oh, well, then okay, keep going, because we are eternal beings. We will always be here in one form or another to learn, because that's what a physical world is here to do. See, there wouldn't be music if there wasn't an atmosphere. And there wouldn't be an atmosphere if there wasn't plants and life, see. And that's what life is all about. It's not all about being the same forever. It's about changing and growing and changing and growing and then dying and falling and getting up and living your life, you know. And if you're stuck, you don't have to go anywhere, because we all got this beautiful mind, and it's the same mind that was in Jesus. And he said that. He said, the same mind that's in me is in everybody. And everything I can do, you can do. And that's what I'm finding out, see? Because with me, I was never highly educated at all. In fact, my education started when I smoked a joint and decided that I need to get the hell out of school and get on the street and start learning what I love to do.
And educate yourself.
Yeah, and that's what I did. And that's where the education is right there, you know. And then I learned really fast, you know, what to stay away from. And then I learned very fast what to do to keep your body in the best shape you can, so you can enjoy all this shit. You see, and I learned that, and then I also learned that serving people. See, I was always a backup guitar player, and even when I did the movies, I directed them, but I wasn't like a movie director. You know, okay, we want this over there. Yeah. I just had the ability of putting the right people, right gang of people together. And that's what I did with Bobby Taylor. We had the singer. He was the singer. And with Cheech, you know, he's a partner. Oh, he's a great partner. Yeah. And now my son and my family, you know. And that's the other thing too, is that everything you need is right there in front of you. Everything you need. Everybody. Everything you need is right in front of you. You just have to have eyes to be able to see it.
Yeah. What was it like to, real quick, what was it like to be a part of the South Park and Simpsons world?
It was a flash, man. It was an honor. You know, when you get honored, you know, at the end of your career, no greater honor than being on The Simpsons. You know, that's like, oh, we made it. That's better than a star on Hollywood Boulevard, you know. And same as South Park. South Park, you can tell we influenced all those people, you know, with big influence. And we've influenced everybody, you know, from kids from paupers to kings, and, you know, and it's a nice feeling. It's a nice feeling to have, you know, people that you really admire say, "Yeah, I grew up with you." Yeah. One time, what do you call it? Hey, there's Miles Davis saw Cheech. And he's pointing his finger at him and say, what was he saying? Something like marijuana. He said it's like marijuana, man. That was the connection. Yeah. No, it's you know, life for me. And very briefly, I'll tell you what got me going. As long as you want, you got as long as you want. Yeah. Well, what got me going really was the fact that I was alone when I was a baby. My earliest memories was in a hospital being cared for by these beautiful nurses. That's when I start retaining that memory. Now, you kind of remember little baby things that your mother told you later on, you know, and you kind of, oh, do I remember that, or is my mother? But anyway, being alone without family or anybody else, you're alone. And so you have to discover things. No one tells you these things, but strangers tell you things. You learn the hard way. Like I learned about electricity when I was in the Salvation Army home. It was like an orphanage, and there's a little kid. He had a needle and he was sticking it in the light socket or the plug-in electric thing. And so he said, "Hey, you want to try it?" And I tried it, and I got shocked. That's when I learned about electricity. You learn real quick, yeah. Yeah. So, and then when I was 8 years old, I went to Bible camp, and like this church drove around our neighborhood, picked up the poor kids, and said, "You want to go to camp?" Boom, I'm in camp. and it was a Christian, they had a sing along around the campfire every night, and baptisms in the lake, and and storytelling at night.
So your spiritual perspective and your way of seeing the world, do you think do you think that period in your life mixed with the time you smoke weed, mixed with doing music and then comedy, do you think all of that leads up to the spiritual perspective you have now, and the kind of how you see the world? You see it a little differently than a lot of people,
Well, with me, I credit the ability to communicate with God, that ability. Okay. And everybody has it. Everybody has it. Everybody has a God app. I was lucky enough to discover it real early. And so no matter what would happen to me, I always knew where to go. And then everything would be okay. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it is, Mm-hmm. When I needed money, it appeared. When I needed love, it appeared. When I needed whatever I needed, even my mother. And when I needed my mother, then she came out of the sanitarium. And the thing is, with fathers, he was a truck driver, and he'd always, when he'd go on the road, he'd always want my son, his oldest son, my brother, Stan, to go with him, because Stan was 3 years older than me. Okay. But Stan never wanted to go with my dad. And so I would say, I'll go. And so my dad would go, oh, okay, then come on. And so he would take me. And that was the connection I had with my dad, which was, I was his second choice, but then I was his loyal guy. I was very loyal. Right. And it was that kind of a childhood that when I learned how to pray, it's very important, and it's very easy. And lately I've been teaching people. I said, all you have to do to change your life is to change your thought. Yeah. You can't have two thoughts at the same time. And so always have your thought on God. That's all. Or anything God-like, on Jesus.
When you say have your thought on God and pray to, do you see that as an inner thing within yourself, or do you see that as an outer thing? How do you see that in terms of when
it's an inner thing? It's an inner power that produces the outer power. Okay. So you can change the weather with prayer. You can change your world with prayer. It's that powerful. And prayer doesn't have to be any more than just a thought. Just like when you turn on the computer, you don't have to crank it up or anything else. You hit a button. I love it. You see? Yeah. And that's what you have to do. That's all when you need God, you hit a button. And the button's in your brain. And so you right away to go to God. That's why I want to write a book about, there's a saying, OMG, oh my God. Mm-hmm. And to me, see, in the Bible, it says you should never take God's name in vain. Well, the truth is you can't take anything God in vain or in any other way, because it's God. So the very mention of the word has power. And it doesn't matter how you say it, it has power. Right. Because what it does, you reckon, like Alexa. When you say Alexa, Alexa's ready. Yeah. Now, it's up to you to say what you want Alexa to do. Right. But the minute you say Alexa,
very good analogy.
Yeah. So when you say Alexa, boom, she's there. And that's the same as God. When you say God, boom, he's right there. Now, it's what you want after that. See, there's only certain things God can do for you.
Right. You got to put the rest in motion.
That's right. But what he will do, God will give you the inspiration, the clue, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Like someone off stage saying, prompting you, just giving you the word that you need to go, oh, I know where I have to go. See, so when you learn that, look at my life. I am an example of what happens when you know these secrets.
Right. All right. When did you know you were funny? What age? I mean, when did you just know, I'm funny and I'm gonna get paid for being funny?
No, what happened? I had a nightclub. I had a strip club, And when I got fired from Motown.
Okay.
And then
I'm sorry. That's not funny. Why did I laugh? I'm sorry. That's
I know.
not funny. I'm sorry.
I got
But
fired.
it
I
was.
got fired
That's
from
fucked
Motown.
up. I'm sorry. Apologize.
But and then
the way you said it, I'm sorry, but okay. So, but you said it like it was a good thing, so I was confused. And it made me laugh.
It was
It
the
was
best
okay.
thing. It was the
Getting
best
fired
thing.
from Motown was the best
Well,
thing.
Bobby
Okay.
Taylor had left.
So I'm not such an asshole. Thank you, Charles.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Bobby Taylor had left the group
Yeah.
as Motown, as Bobby Taylor would do. He did take the drums. He didn't have to, but he left because he was going to be a solo singer, and Smokey was going to produce him. So the band was left to back up Chris Clark, which is one of Berry Gordy's girlfriends, a singer, a white girl. And so we had a gig in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. But at the same time, we had been deported from America by the U.S. Immigration because we were Canadians and we weren't supposed to be living in the States and working. And so I went to Motown. I said, I need a green card, because I had family and everything else. And so Motown says, okay, the lawyer set me up with an appointment. And so when you get an appointment for a green card, you have to be there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. And if you miss that appointment, they put you at the back of the line. And so I'm in the middle of the gig. I told the road manager, Johnny Bristow, and I said, I had the bass player. I was getting him a green card too, Wes. And so I said, we have to miss Saturday night because we have to do this meeting. And he told me, well, if you miss anything, you're going to get fired. And so rather than argue with him, he didn't understand. So I'm not going to stand there and argue with him, And so I just left and I did my thing, got the green card, come back, and he fired me. The bass player had a chance to walk out with me. Had he done that, I wouldn't have been fired. But the bass player, he decided the whole band turned away and said, okay, so they allowed me to be fired. And that was, like I said, the best thing, because when I got fired, then I decided, my girlfriend and I had my wife and my girlfriend there, and my girlfriend at the time, Shelby, she said, we saw a movie called Alice B. Toklas with Peter Sellers, and it showed California, and it was nice and sunny and the beaches and everything. And so we said, I'm fired, so let's go to California. And so we got a car and we went to California, and then I had to go back to Canada. Went back to Canada, started working in the nightclubs. I had 2 nightclubs. I was free. I had nothing to do, and so I started working at the strip club as a light man. I wanted to see the show, and I watched the show, and it was okay, but it was a stripper show. And so I had this great idea of doing improvisational comedy with the girls as the actresses. And I had a whole cast on stage. I had a singer and I had a MC. And so I wrote a show for the MC and the girls and that, and they did it. And it was a big hit, except the MC quit because his name was Taps Harris. And so the girls, that when they're doing the skit, they said, how come they call you Taps? Well, I'm a tap dancer. Well, let's see you tap. So he tapped, and he was so good, the audience gave him a standing ovation, and he had to do an encore. And so that encore killed his ass, so he quit. And so I said to the doorman, I said, Dave, I need an MC. And Dave said, well, I'll do it if you do it. And he called me out on it. So I said, oh, okay. So next thing I know, I'm on stage with Dave. He was my first partner. And so we did a lot of TNA jokes, and we did improv. And it was really good. Then our straight man he had to quit because his wife found out what he was doing and with strippers. And so then we hired Cheech, and his name was Richard at the time. And then, so then we got real successful, but too successful, because we weren't making the same money that the strippers were, we were losing money. And so we got fired. And so then Cheech and I stayed together. We formed a band, but we never played a note. We just did our comedy and instead, and we found out where it hit. And so we left for LA, I think the next day. And that was it. And then we just, hung out, went to all the places where we could work, mostly black clubs where I'd worked as Bobby Taylor, because they would hire a floor show. And so that's where we got our first stage. And the first time we were on stage was at Red Fox's club. So because he was a buddy and he put us on stage. And
that was in LA?
That was in LA. Yeah. And then a year later, a little more than a year later, we were at the Grammys because we got nominated for our first album. We got nominated for a Grammy.
Self-titled one?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The Yellow album. Yeah.
Cheech and Chong. Yeah, as they call it, Yellow album.
Yeah. The first one.
So how does that feel? I mean, that project was, like I said, it was underground. It was done with the cheapest of budgets. It's literally you guys with the cheapest recording equipment you could afford and just improvising. So people work their whole lives to get Grammys, and you guys do it in fucking 45 minutes just chilling. You know what I mean?
I want to hear something funny. We when we made the deal, Cheech had no idea. He said Lou Adler saw us. He wants to see us. So we went in and saw Lou, and he's got records all over the place. And I had started off my whole pot career with a joint and a Lenny Bruce album. So I had listened to this Lenny Bruce over and over and over again. So I had an idea of how a comedy album should be. And so when we went to Lou's, and he said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Wow, make a comedy album." And we had no idea how we were going to do it. And so I asked Lou for a little tape recorder, and it was part of the deal. And so I got a little tape recorder. I thought it was funny, get a couple of $1,000 in a tape recorder, a tiny little tape recorder. And so we went into a mixdown room to practice, to rehearse. And Cheech went outside, and it was hot outside. It was about 100 degrees outside. It was nice and air conditioned inside. And it was the old Charlie Chaplin studios. And so Cheech is out there, and he knocks on the door. And I wasn't ready. And so I didn't know if the tape recorder was working or anything. So I was taking my time. And then he knocked again. And I said, "Who is it?" And I was supposed to let him in. And so when I said, "Who is it?" kind of caught him by surprise. And he says, It's me, man. Come on, I got the stuff. Open up." So I just then I waited, because now I know I'm torturing him. So I waited. He knocks again, and I go, "Who is it?" In that dumb stoner voice. "It's me, man. Come on, open the door. I think the cops saw me." And again, just
the classic would.
Nothing, just waiting. Then he knocks again. And I said, "Who is it?" But this time he's pissed off. I said, "It's me. It's Dave, man. It's Dave." And I said, "Dave?" He said, Yeah, Dave." Then I said, "Dave's not here." Cheech, he goes, "Yeah. No, man, I'm Dave, man. I'm Dave. Come on, let me in. Let me in. And so I let him in.
Oh my God.
And then we and he was pissed off. He's throwing his hat. He said, "Come on, man, it's fucking hot out there. I could have died. I could have had sunstroke." I said, listen. So we played it back. We played that over and over again. And every time we played it, we'd laugh harder and harder and harder and harder. And then we played it for Lou. And of course,
and Lou said, who's Lou? Explain to people.
Lou Adler.
Right,
he owned the record company.
Right.
So
he fought hard for you guys' career throughout.
Yeah.
He fought hard for you guys. Yeah.
No, he put everything together. So that night we had a recording session. And so we did the Dave's Not Here. And it was over like in 2 minutes. And Lou says, we had paid for the studio. We got engineers. We got everybody. And this is, "Do you have anything else?" And so we said, "Yeah, I guess we do." Yeah. So Cheech and I, we figured out, we'll do Blind Melon Chidlin. And so we did Blind Melon Chidlin, and then after that, I told Lou, I says, you know, from now on, we don't need a big studio. We don't need any. We just need a little room, little mix down room, and an engineer, and that's all we need. And then Cheech and I just went to work, and we just ad-libbed there. We ad-libbed everything.
Yeah, you guys did it like rappers. I mean, you guys were.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, that's how we. I mean, you know, we just, you know, that's how we would write. You know, we get an idea. Like if we get a song idea, you know, because you know I'm a songwriter and or a lyricist, and and that's the way it is. You always got your ear open for some saying or some words. Yeah. We had a nice time. You know, and the thing is, once we got into movies, that changed everything. You know. And that changed Cheech and Chong. We had ran out of record bits, you know, and then we were working live, and we kept going over to Australia, and you know, I got tired of you got to write a new show every time we went over there, you know, and that part was good. We got a shitload of material, but I was just tired of, you know, of the road, really, you know. And so then I started writing a movie, and then next thing you know, Lou Adler gets involved, and when Lou gets involved, you know, it's always first class all the way.
Right.
And that's what we did. You know, it was great. Yeah, great career.
Yeah.
So fast forward to now. Tell us about did the I know you guys had a 420 special event. But did that dispensary open, and where are you guys at with that? And the
we're still working on it. We're still working on the financial details. You know.
Okay.
You know,
but those dispensaries are coming, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a matter of how much. You know that dance. You know that
100%,
dance.
100%.
Yeah. But no, we're going to have dispensaries all over the place, and that's where I'm going to have. Yeah, I'm really going to get creative, man. I'm going to be selling all sorts of things, and I'm going to do.
Do you have a strain right now too?
Yeah. I mean, we got. You know what? Our best two of our best sellers. One is pre-rolls, and so it's various strains, and a lot of our pre-rolls have a little bit of hash in them to give that little extra kick. You know, to give us the Tommy Chong reputation. Cheech got his brand of product out there, but you know what we're really doing well with is the strips, these like breast strips, and they're loaded with THC, and my wife uses them, half of them, to go to sleep with, you know. And so they're selling really good, and then our CBD my CBD has gone through the roof, you know. We've got our own website, you know, it's really, really happening. And we got merch, our clothing line. There's a Cheech and Chong clothing line. There's a Cheech and Chong bong distributor in Canada. And then I've got my own art bongs and my, you know, the $1 Million bong. We got all that going.
Well, make sure we get all that information so we can put it in the episode, you know, when we'll, you know.
It's on websites all over the place.
Who came up with the Cheech and Chong Bud Farm app game?
The people in Vancouver. They talked to my son Paris, and because you know Cheech and I, we had no idea what you know games and shit. But our son, he's connected. You know, my son Paris. You know, he's at that perfect age now where he so he got us with the Bud Farm and all that, you know. There's and he's producing a movie that we're kind of a serious movie of Cheech and Chong. My daughter and my Robbie, my daughter with my first wife, she's working on a documentary with Cheech and Chong documentary. That's going to be finished and everything else, but it's going to be a good, I'm guessing another 10, maybe more years, you know. We'll see how the old body holds up and how everything
Yeah.
It comes together because
I think you got the power to probably live as many years as you want, man. I think you're kind of at this point where, it's up to you, bro.
Nah, I wish it would.
I'm joking. No, but no, you got at least 10, I think. You're at
It depends, man, because
you're a soldier.
When you reach a certain age, man, you become the bait.
Well,
you're no longer.
We appreciate your time. Then, on that note, we really appreciate your time.
Again, okay,
man,
bro.
Nice to meet you. My name is Ram. That's Jason Danku. Very good.
I want to check out your music, man. I want to hear your music.
Oh, we can send you links. We can send you links to both of our music.
Send me link. Send me a link.
If you listen to our music in any way, that would be the biggest honor in the world.
I'll not only listen to it, but if you send me a T-shirt, I'll wear it.
I would definitely send you a shirt, man.
Right on.
Just tell me the size, man.
Yeah.
XL.
Well, okay.
XL. Right. Always XL.
That's what happened. Again, appreciate your talents, your wisdom, your time today. I usually do an outro and then we'll do the outro and then we'll say, we'll give our buys and everything. But I'm gonna do the outro. It's been Pick Apart the Passion podcast. Today we had Tommy Chong. This has been a great episode. And sometimes you have to pick apart yourself to get to your passion. Peace and love, everybody. Have a nice night.
Pick apart the passion. Pick apart the passion. Pick the passion. Pick the passion. Pick apart the passion. Pick apart the passion. 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 Passion.